This is Sam from Uniondale, and you're tuning into another edition of the Sam I Analyze Show. The Knicks lose a tough one to OKC, and Coach Mike Brown had some very interesting words after the game. Let's analyze. So, folks, at this point, you guys know that I was at the game, and the game did not start off as I wanted. I think early on there was an offensive foul called, or a blocking foul called on Jalen Brunson that, in my opinion, should have been an offensive foul on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP. And in hindsight, I feel like that non-called kind of set the tone, right? It kind of set the tone where the Knicks, the Knicks battled. And if you look at the game, I think the Knicks did go down as much as 14 points. And then in that fourth quarter, Mikal Bridges with the corner three there to take the 3-point lead. And the Knicks had 40 points in that third quarter. You look at the Knicks, for the most part, I feel like the Knicks really did their thing for a majority of the game. In most categories, they dominated. Rebounds, they had 48 rebounds to OKC's 38, 23 assists to OKC's 21. The Knicks only had 14 turnovers to OKC's 16. Points in the paint, 46 for the Knicks, 20 for OKC. 2 fast break points for OKC to the Knicks 14. Now, the game was only lost by 3 points, but there was something here to me that stood out, right? The Knicks were only 10 for 35 from 3, and they were 16 for 22 from the free throw line versus OKC 21 and 25. Look, this is the second game that I've gone to. I think the other one was Detroit, where I felt like, what are the refs looking at? To the point where I went with my boy Brandon. We're watching the game, and there was a play where I think it was Jalen Brunson, I believe, had 3 charges that he took, right? And I think they only counted for 2 because they called a blocking foul on 1. But there was a play where, and I kid you not, right under the basket, and it looks like the ref was like looking at the other ref like offensive foul, right? I'm like, you're right there. Why can't you call that? It happened right in front of you. And sometimes you hear people when it comes to basketball, they're like, see ball, react. Like, I'm like, you see the ball, you see the play, make the play, make the call. And the ref didn't do that. Now, so I spoke about the Brunson offensive foul that wasn't on Shai Gilgeous, but to me there was another point in the game that got me very agitated and annoyed in that first half, and that was, to me, watching Chet Holmgren channel his inner name, whatever shooter you want to call it, Steph Curry, whatever you want to call him. He had 6 3-pointers in the first half, y'all. 22 points. I thought he was going to give the Knicks a 50-piece. I really did. And I'm like, and the thing with that was, I'm like, how many times have we seen the Knicks 1 3, 2 3s, 3 3s? And it reminded me of one Champagnie from the Spurs. He had 11 threes. And I'm like, the bad Knicks 3-point defense. Here it is. And I'm like, the guy had 20. Majority of the threes that I think, and I'm watching this live, he's open again. That's what I kept saying. I'm telling B, I'm like, he's open again. What are they doing? He's open again. And he just had he sat there, he made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, he made a phone call, 3. He was wide open on those 3s, as far as I remember. And then in the second half, I mean, he finished the entire game with 28 points, so 6 points in the second half. So the Knicks tightened up their defense. But look, for the most part, and I wanted this game, because I know these were the champs. I wanted to see how the Knicks matched up. And to me, the fact that the Knicks missed so many threes, and, I felt this was another game where the referees I don't know what they were seeing, to the point where you saw Mike Brown get hot. I mean, he got a technical. He went crazy. You saw Rick Brunson holding him back. That's his real name, by the way. But he's holding the coach back. He was livid. And the whole Garden crowd was kind of livid. You heard, listen, I don't know if you could hear it through the TV, but people were groaning and upset with the refs. Like, what's going on? What are you seeing? Why are you not calling the offensive foul or whatever it is? And I felt like they kept calling call after call. Now, there's another thing that stood out to me. The play where Karl-Anthony Towns, I believe it was his fifth foul, where they called the ball was out or whatever, and he tipped it out. Here's the deal. In the NFL, when you challenge, they challenge the call, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but they can only go back and review the call. They cannot go back and review something they missed. Somehow in the NBA, they can challenge a call, and then if they miss the call or whatever, they fix it. They're like, actually, Karl-Anthony Towns committed a foul, so that's going to be his fifth. And it was a successful challenge for OKC. I'm like, wait a minute. We're not going back to see if it was a foul. We're trying to see if the ball was hit out of bounds. But then you can go back and make the right call. It shouldn't be the case, in my opinion. Now, I guess they got the call right, but it shouldn't be the case, in my opinion. And I felt like the calls were going against the Knicks. I feel like calls have been going against the Knicks for the last 15 or 20 years since Carmelo. I mean, I feel like this has been an issue forever. Forever. And the last game before this was the Detroit game, and I'm sitting here like, what's going? Tim Donaghy is still reffing? And again, and I joke, but I don't, because I'm like, I was very agitated. You saw Mike Brown say at the end of the game that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does a great job in basically in making the refs think that he got hit. Basically calling him an Academy Award winner or, a great actor. And that's what he is. And even regardless of that, the Knicks had a chance. Now, there's something that stood out to me. I don't know about you guys, but when they went to review the Karl-Anthony Towns for his fifth foul or whatever, I turned to Bree, my boy, and I'm like, Brandon, is it me or does the rim look crooked? Like after OG dunked it or whatever it is, the rim, when they showed it on the Jumbotron and, they're reviewing the replay, I'm like, it's crooked. I would love to hear if the NBA goes back and reviews things and says things like this, like the rim was crooked. To me, the rim where the Knicks shot, where Brunson shot the three to tie the game, I felt like in the final moments of the game, the Knicks could do nothing but attack the rim, because to me, the rim in the replay, I'm like, it's lopsided. So I would love to find out if the NBA, when they do the report and a 2-minute report, if they mention that. But your boy, to me, that's what I saw, and I've never seen that before. Watching, and I'm like, wait, the rim is off. But anyway, the Knicks was a tough one. This was one of those when it started. I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this looks like Detroit all over again. or the Cleveland Cavaliers all over again, where the Knicks could just not hit open threes. Josh Hart missed like 3 or 4 layups before he finally got one. So I'm not worried about the Knicks. They're 15-5 in their last 20. So they're balling right now. I think the Knicks, another thing you've got to give Mike Brown and the Knicks a lot of credit for, and Karl Anthony Towns himself, he played majority. I don't even know. Did he shoot a 3? I don't think so. Everything was free throw line, below the free throw line. And Karl Anthony Towns is doing his best impersonation of a big man playing in the post. So I've got to give him a lot of credit. I got to give that man a lot of credit. It's clear to me that the Knicks are going out of their way. This is dress rehearsal for the playoffs. And, 17, he had 17 points, 17 rebounds. Jalen Brunson, well-balanced attack overall, by the way. Jalen Brunson did not have a great shooting night, but he did have, Brunson had, let me see. Why am I not, there it is. He had 16 points, but he shot 5 for 18, and he had 15 assists. If Thomas were still here coaching the team, he would say the game will dictate how to play. So, listen, Jalen Brunson, also our all-star and our superstar captain. Way to read the game. But what say you? How do you feel about the performance by the refs? And is it overblown, or did you see the same thing? Let me know in the comments. Now it's that time. The Patriots to release Stephon Diggs. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Folks, I'm on most social media platforms at SamIAnalyze. Please like, share, subscribe, and you see that notification bell to the right. Please click on that. That will let you know the next time I drop another video. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, à tout à l'heure.